what's good, Commanders fans? The Commanders have made a signing here. They signed Eddie Goldman, a defensive tackle who played with the Bears. He also played with the Falcons last year. He did retire a couple of times. And he is a former second-round pick. So I know a lot of people are not very high on this move. He's 31 years old as well, so he's been in the league for a couple of years. 6'3", 325 pounds. He's from D.C. He went to Friendship Collegiate, and Yannick Ngakwe went to Friendship Collegiate as well. So they played on that same high school team, which is pretty good when you have two NFL players that, and Eddie Goldman was an alternate Pro Bowler. Eddie Goldman was in high school at Friendship Collegiate. He was an All-American defensive lineman. So I'm reading because I'm not going to act like I've heard of the guy before. Like I'm gonna just be honest. You got me. I've never heard of Eddie Goldman. I'm not going to cap. I'm not going well. I've never heard of Eddie Goldman before in my life. I have not. So shame on me. He was on the All-Rookie team, which is good. And that was voted by Mel Kiper, I believe. So that is something good. Yeah, he was in the he ranked fourth among rookies with 4.5 sacks his rookie season. For his season, he was named to Mel Kiper Jr.'s All-Rookie team and the Pro Football Writers of America's All-Rookie team as well. Goldman played in six games with 5 starts in 2016. He suffered a high ankle sprain in week 2 and missed the next 6 games. He returned in week 10, but was bothered by the ankle injury and was placed on injury reserve on December 23rd, 2016. So I'm not going to read here word for word, but he did retire. So during he opted out of the COVID-19, the virus, the coronavirus season. He received a $350,000 stipend for the season. His original base salary of $4.75 million will be his salary for the following season. So he took a year off because of the virus. Then he returned to the Bears for the 2021 season. In 14 games, he netted a half a sack with 22 tackles. On March 14, 2022, Goldman was released by the Bears. Then he signed with the Falcons in 2022, July 6th. 13 days after signing with the team, Goldman announced his retirement from the NFL. So he took a year off, then he retired, and then March 21st, 2023, he came out of retirement, and the Falcons reinstated him back to their active roster. He was placed on the exempt left squad list on July 29th. Then April 2nd, 2024, Goldman was released off the Falcons reserve list. However, the same day he re-signed with the team. In the 2024 season, Goldman played all 17 games for Atlanta with 10 starts at defensive tackle. He recorded 16 total tackles and 1 sack. He did play 20% of the snaps, I've heard somewhere. So he's more of a rotational guy. He's more of a depth piece. Is he better than Sheldon Day? That's a question mark at this point, too. He is known to be a run stuffer and a run stopper. Did not grade well. Relative athletic score was not good, but, it's not really a big thing with defensive tackles like that sometimes. I mean, some defensive tackles do grade well. I think Jonathan Allen or Daron Payne graded really well coming out. Relative athletic score, I can't remember. His vertical jump was a 26, which is poor. Short shuttle, 4.87, poor. Agility grade, poor. 40-yard dash, 5.28, which is, like I said, doesn't matter, poor. 20-yard split, poor. 10-yard split, poor. Very poor, actually. But his height and weight are great by the relative athletic score. So if that means anything. But my thoughts just off the top of thinking and not looking at stats and write-ups and PFF scores, because he didn't grade well per PFF. He graded pretty poorly. 47.5 run defense grade last year, which was 141st out of 219 defensive linemen, and we're saying that he's supposed to come in and help stop the run. And he has that kind of grade. Like I said, I don't want to just base everything off of PFF. And a 49.3 overall grade. Pass rush grade was solid, 61.5. So that's cool. 1 sack, 8 solo tackles, 10 assists. So 330 total snaps, which he was ranked 100th. So not many out there either. So 7 hurries on the season, which was ranked 94th. So, nothing to really get excited about. If this is Eddie Goldman from the 2018 season, he was an alternate Pro Bowler, which is really good. I think that's the season he had 3 sacks. And he had 5 tackles for loss, and 3 quarterback hits. So if we're getting 2019, that's what we're banking on, 2019, 20. But like I said, once again, as I always say, trust in Adam Peters. We've seen him revive people's careers or inject life help inject life into people's careers. Zach Ertz, Austin Eckler, Bobby Wagner, Jeremy Chen, who kind of looked like he was almost in his last. It didn't work out with the Panthers. He came here, worked out well, and he's got paid by the Raiders. So maybe could this be the case for Eddie Goldman? But at best, it's going to be a rotational piece behind Javon Kinlaw, or rotating with Javon Kinlaw, because it's going to be Daron Payne starting and Johnny Newton. So did the interior get better? It's to be seen. On paper, you can't really argue yes. You just got to be honest with yourself. We got to be honest and look at ourselves in the mirror. Did we get better in the interior? You can't really say that. Did we get worse? Who knows? We got to wait till the season. Edge rusher is still a concern for me. We have not signed an edge rusher. Looks like we're not trading for Trey Hendrickson. It looks like that is not going to happen. It's not going to happen. So, but Eddie Goldman, some other things. So looking at his PFF score from the alternates when he was the alternate Pro Bowl in 2018, he had an 87.9 defensive grade, 90.0 run defense grade. That is elite. If we can get that Eddie Goldman where he was stopping the run, stuffing the run, that zero technique, 69.1 pass rush grade, if we can get that Eddie Goldman, I would be very happy. Now, even in 2021, he was awful with a 39.8 PFF grade, 26 tackling grade, 37.4 run defense grade. So it's nothing to really hang your hat on, except for 2018 and rookie season Eddie Goldman. That's what you can hang your hat on that. And I'll read his his write-up coming out. So his power at the point of attack and ability to discard blockers and actually make plays rather than just eating space will have 4 teams very excited about their potential nose guard of the future. So he's more of a nose guard. However, his lack of pass rushing prowess could limit just how high he rises on draft boards. Strengths are carries, broad shoulders, and well-proportioned frame. Plays the run like a full-grown man. I like that a lot. Pause. Outstanding power and upper body. Plays with good hip flexion. Explodes out of stance and into defenders with force and leverage. Violent hands that jar offensive linemen and force them into defensive posture. Able to shed blockers with hands or with clubbing arms and spring into ball carrier. Can two-gap at the point of attack and play square throughout. Leveraging gap when offenses try to block him on an angle. Bull rusher with ability to invert pocket, ringing up 6 sacks over the last 2 seasons. What college did he go to? He went to Florida State. He was originally drafted by the Bears. So like I said, let's see what Eddie Goldman does. Let's see what Javon Kinlaw does. Let's see if Johnny Newton can take a leap and have a breakout season and stay healthy as well. But yeah, Adam, no cornerback, no edge rusher. That is a concern. And then I do believe we need to sign another receiver. It should not be Michael Gallup. People joke about us being a retirement home, but it doesn't matter because the retirement home helped us get to the NFC Championship last year. All the elderly guys, Bobby Wagner, Zach Ertz, and Eckler, and guys that I name like that. But, they worked out Michael Gallup yesterday, who legit retired. And now they're bringing in this guy who legit retired last year and sat out for 2 seasons. So all I can do is sit back and trust Adam and see where this goes. And let's see what Eddie does, man. I mean, Eddie can fool around, and he's 6'4", 336 pounds. Eddie can fool around, and let's say they draft a defensive tackle, and I think he'll make the roster. If they bring back Sheldon Day, I mean, yeah, let's see. Like he some people call him a camp body. I don't think he'll be a camp body. But, it's intriguing, the competition. We'll see what happens, man. We'll see what happens with Eddie Goldman here, man. 17 games. He's been healthy for the most part, too. So that's a good thing. That's a positive. All right, you guys, as always, Health Commanders. Peace.